Recently, I've been listening to The Wall a lot, and I was like, okay, let's type Roger Waters because those lyrics they mean something, and after we type, it will all make sense. So let's have a look at Roger Waters and what kind of cognitive function stack he has in MBTI and which type he is in objective personality system. Deep dive. And yeah, these are the lyrics that I am talking about. And after we type them, this is all gonna make perfect sense. Yes, you're just another brick in the wall. I use objective personality framework to type him to make sense of how he thinks, how he feels, and so on. So, opening move is really important, and that has to be one of the big coins. Observer versus decider, self versus tribe, or control versus chaos. Let's see if we can figure anything out from this video clip.
I mean, how many times did you actually, in concert, do the wall, have to hold the whole show?
I hadn't the faintest idea. I could guess. I would say 24, maybe. We did a week in LA, a week in Nassau Coliseum in New York, a week in Earls Court, and a week in Dortmund. That's 28, so I'm already above. Or maybe we did 6 nights in each of those. And then we went back in 81 into Earls Court and did a few more days, because by that point we were making the movie, and in the original plan for the movie there was planned that there would be some live footage when Michael Saracen was the director. And that footage still exists. 70, we did 3 songs in 70mm.
Is that in this Earls Court Live? Is that part of the show?
I'm sure it will get used, yeah. You know, it's in a chest under my bed. Well, not literally, figuratively, you understand.
Vibe check first. I don't think that he looks like a super extrovert. He is probably not a playblast. I'm leaning more on the introvert side. And then he was saying some stuff like, I do not know the sensory, but I could guess. And he roughly calculates something. So, feminine sensory, can't remember, but figuring out, not a problem. Yeah, might be. Plan for the movie and live footage is needed. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but sensory versus intuition or gathering versus organizing, these kind of feel like there's a there isn't any friction to go back and forth in there. So this feels like double observing, but I already had a bias. So this is like one of those cases that I need to be careful. Because looking at his face, I got reminded of some ISTPs, and then I remembered Holly and Felix, the class they did on Harrison Ford. I'm like, oh, he looks like Harrison Ford. So instead of the cool guy ISTP, is he a cooler guy ISFP? So that is my bias. So I need to make sure that I am double checking that. And I'm not reading too much into everything. And at the end of that clip, he was saying, not literally, figuratively, you understand? That points me to sensory above intuition, maybe. Like, why would anybody take it literally? Let's see. We didn't get too much from this clip, but I think like his energy, maybe that we can say, he seems more like an introvert. Let's check out this VHS one. Green.
Okay, so what's it like playing with Eric Clapton?
It's great.
And how did you get together with him?
I rang him up and said, I'm making this album. Would you be interested in playing guitar? And he said, well, yeah, I'd like to come and hear it. So I played him the demo I'd made, and he liked it, and that was that.
Is he an old friend of yours?
No. I mean, I knew him, you know, if we passed backstage, we'd go, oh, all right, yeah. But we were never friendly, you know.
How much of an input does he have into the music?
Well, he gives it that. He puts his guitar playing into the music. That's what he puts into it, you know, which is quite different from anybody else's in the world. I mean, when he came in to make the record, he very much said, look, you know, just tell me what you want me to do, and I'll try and do it, you know, and if I can't, let's leave it out and not bother with it. I think he thought I was going to try and get him play outside styles that he was used to playing in, but I didn't want him to. I wanted him to play with that pure intonation and feeling, which he does better than anybody else. And he did. And what did he do? He would suggest instruments as well. Like, for instance, on the album at the end of side 1, there's a dobro solo, and that goes into side 2 as well. But she was just listening to it one day and said, why don't I play dobro then? I said, great, bring it in. So there's that kind of input as well, which is terrific. But he's been a tower of strength, you know, he's been very supportive of the whole thing, because it's been difficult for me, particularly putting the show together. Because while we've been rehearsing the band, you know, I've been having to do all the movie and everything as well. I've been in the car, and he's been extremely supportive. It's been wonderful.
Again, he looks quite introverted, short answers, shyness, and so on. So it is safe to say he's an introvert. And then what we see is a story. He's telling a story, and that story is from his perspective. So that makes me think sleep above play. He also gives a lot of sensory and random stories about himself as well. There's also his language. If we look at that carefully, we can see he is saying stuff like quite different than anybody else in the world and so on. Consume does that, consume language. There is something like that they need to be special, they need to be unique, whatever, like this kind of language is coming from consume, I believe. As I don't really have that, it's always catching my attention. So yes, let's move on. What else we see? He is slowing down when he's talking about others. That is pointing me to self-above tribe. He doesn't have a clear vision on the tribe. That tells me he puts himself first. And then his language. I want, I didn't want, I want, whatever. He has no problem to share how he feels, what his values are, and so on. That makes me think that feeling above thinking. And when he's talking about Eric Clapton, he says something that he's tracking. He's playing better than anybody else. Is this ST spectrum, objective reality spectrum, skills and like physical world? Is this what he's seeing? Let's have a look at another video clip from the same interview.
You seem to be doing more of an elaborate production now, given the fact that you're getting more money, and given that fact that you're getting more money and more technology, do you find that that makes you more creative?
Did I give more money? What do you mean?
Yeah, well, with the success and all that maybe you're making a little bit more money and you're able to use that for technology, in other words.
The technology doesn't interest me in the slightest. I'm completely disinterested in all matters technical. I've never been interested in technique. What I'm interested in is making something happen that moves people, you know. I want to give people chills up their spine. That's all I'm interested in. I want to give myself chills up the spine, like when I can run the stuff and go out and watch it from the hall or listen to it all thing. That's all I'm interested in doing.
What do you enjoy most so far about the solo tour?
It's only just started. We've only been, I don't know. It's very relaxed. I mean, it's not. Everybody's... that sounds a stupid thing to say, because, of course, everybody's completely wired, because at any moment it can all collapse. But there's a good feeling developing in the band and in the crew, although everybody's pretty shattered, particularly in the crew. There's a lot of walking wounded out there.
Already, but it just...
Oh, the work for us is hard, but for them it's unbelievable. To put this to, drive from Stockholm to Rotterdam and then put that up when you arrive is unbelievably hard work. Because they're ironing bugs out of it all the time, And the effects truss only has to be 18 inches out in one direction or another, and it doesn't work. So then there's a terrible panic to get it in the right place, and you're moving something that weighs several tons about, so it's
In the beginning of this clip, he says, like, what do you mean? So that also can be translated as, please make the connections for me. I'm leaning more on demon intuition. And then he mentions tech doesn't interest him. So what I am interested in is to make something that moves people. Tech is more about thinking and like making people move emotionally is about feelings. And so I'm again seeing also like he has no problem sharing his values. I'm again seeing feeling above thinking. And all I care about is to give people chill up the spine. So SF above all, that's what I see. SF, the values in the physical world in this, like, it is also like how we connect in the physical world with our emotions, like in the same room. So that's what it feels like, SF above all. He also is talking about some good feeling developing. That is an interesting language as well, because is this FI? Because I see self, I see feeling. So that is pointing me to introverted feeling. And when he is talking like that, it feels like feelings are stacked for him. That's what introverted functions do. And when he was talking about the workers and what they do and so on, and that feels like what he's tracking is extroverted sensory and extroverted thinking. So he's very aware of SD spectrum. That's what I see. And he was also talking about like how unbelievably hard that is and all the frustration, whatever. If you're a thinker, you don't see it that way usually. That is why I'm leaning more on, is ST a weakness for him? Is SETE a weakness? Let's move on. And now we can see how he fights.
Let me finish. That's all. I.e., I'm going to keep dragging this conversation back to these two things. Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the genocide that the state of Israel is committing on the Palestinian people. And I don't care about what your history books from Egypt. I'm not saying you're wrong. I haven't read them. And frankly, I couldn't care less.
But I thought you did care about reading and getting more knowledgeable.
See, there you go. You're so clever.
I just remembered what you said. It's not that clever. It just says I've got a good memory.
Do you know what? No, you're right. It wasn't that clever.
Okay. Look, let's go back to...
No, let's stay on the genocide. It's either right, it's either all right or it's not. And it doesn't matter what happened in the history of the Israelites.
I'm coming to this.
Okay, good.
Let's go back to October the 7th, 2023, when the Hamas attacks occurred. George Galloway was here last week, and he described them as terror attacks. Do you agree with that?
I'm not going to have this conversation. I've seen you have it with everybody, and you're. It's a waste of time.
Why?
Because you always reach the same conclusions, and you always waste 10 or 12 minutes.
Let's waste 1 minute. All I ever ask people is, do you condemn what Hamas did?
I condemn the killing of civilians, always, whoever does it, wherever it is. I condemn.
How does he fight? You are right, that wasn't that clever. That is punching with thinking, and I think this looks like masculine TE at the bottom. So it was pretty intense. And I'm not gonna have this conversation. What does that mean? I'm not expanding my energy. I already know what's gonna happen. This is masculine intuition. I already know what's gonna happen, and I'm gonna save my energy. Sleep, boundaries. That's what it does. I have seen you have it with everybody. I consumed everything, and you always reach the same conclusions. Masculine intuition, patterns are real, patterns are solid. I know where this is going. So whatever sensorily happens, it doesn't matter. You will always go to the same pattern. Yes. So what we are seeing is masculine and T. And at some point he was talking about wasting time, because he didn't want to waste his energy, his time, his resources. That's what energy dominants do. That's what I do as well. If you have play and sleep balanced in the top 3, let's say, you know when you should be expanding the energy, when you should be saving the energy. Yes, his mind most probably prefers sleep above play, but they are also quite balanced. So that is pointing me to energy tone. Let's see another clip from the same video.
On October the 7th, and some people in Israel were killed, and I feel for them and their families. But let's not forget where all this started. It started in May. I believe it was May. May even have been the 15th of May, 1948, at the Nakba. It's one set of people trying to steal a whole land from another set of people. I remember having a conversation with Dion Warwick about this. I said, Dion, I know how old you are. You're 5 years younger than me. In 3 years younger than me. In 1948...
All right, Roger, let's get back to...
No, I'm talking to the audience. In 1948, Dion Warwick was 8 years old. She was living in Chicago. Dion, there's a bang on the door, right? You go to the door. There's a bloke there with a gun. He says, out, go and walk to Canada. But we live here. No, we're taking this house and this land and all your stuff. And your father comes running downstairs. He says, what are you doing with my daughter? Bang, he's dead. He's lying on the... You leave, you and your mum, and you start walking towards Canada. How would you feel? This was in a conversation that I didn't have, but in a letter I wrote to Dion Warwick after she had attacked me for being part of the BDS movement, where I tried to help the whole of Palestinian civil society to persuade musicians not to go. Excuse me, I haven't finished.
Can we get back to it?
I haven't finished. Not to go and play
to the world. This is an interview. Come on. And by the way, I agree with you about the Nakba. It was wrong. It shouldn't have happened. Right? I've already said that. We agree. You've been accused of anti-Semitism by a lot of people.
Yeah.
But in February 2023, Polly Sampson, the former lyricist for Pink Floyd and the wife of Dave Gilmour from Pink Floyd, tweeted this. Sadly, Roger Waters, you are anti-Semitic to your rotten core, also a Putin apologist and a lying, thieving, hypocritical, tax-avoiding, lip-syncing, misogynistic, sick with envy, megalomaniac. Enough of your nonsense. A few hours later, David Gilmour retweeted this and commented every word demonstrably true.
No comment.
You have no comment to that?
Oh, shut up. Please.
Really? No comment?
It's private.
It's not private, it's public on Twitter.
I'm sorry. Well,
Alex, no.
She's public. I'm private, all right? I'm private about that.
But these are people you've worked with in one of the biggest bands in the world.
Oh, I've gone. There I am. No. Come on.
Didn't bother you?
I'm not saying it didn't bother me. I'm saying I'm not making a comment about that on your TV program.
Why not?
Because I don't want to.
But why?
It's none of your business.
Huh?
I'm not sure.
What I see is masculine plus lust. He can tell a story in a really good way because he has consumed everything. And he says, I will continue with my blast and I haven't finished. And he also tells him to shut up and so on. These are all pointing me to masculine plus lust. And there was also one moment where he was saying that after she attacked me for being part of the BDS movement, this boycott movement, so that is telling me decider because somebody is attacking him, or masculine DE, which we already know. That's why I'm still not sure decider or not, but I think I kind of see double observing. That's why I will go with decider. When we are under pressure and so on, what we do is we run for our strengths, we use them. And what does he do when he's nervous? He laughs. He's using his feeling function. So feeling above thinking. And then what we see is he's again preferring sleep above play. So he says these are my boundaries. I'm refusing to do the blast. I'm refusing to answer your question and so on. So he has quite good boundaries, I would say. And this one was also important when Pierce was asking him something. He's like, I do not want to, and why? That's not on your business. I'm not gonna give you any reasons. So that is pointing me to FI and T. One last clip for his social type. Let's see.
I wake up desperately disturbed every morning. And when I've got over that and had a cup of coffee, I think, okay, what can I do now, today, to help my brothers and sisters in Palestine and to engage in the fight that we're all engaged in, all of those of us who have hearts and minds all over the world, against the evil empire, the evil American empire, but also the evil that lies in the hearts of some men and women in the world, sadly. And I think it's concentrated my mind into saying, what is wrong with these people? Supremacy of all kinds is the key to understanding why people behave in these extremely evil ways, like the Israelis have done for the last 75 years, continuing to do so, with the support, obviously, of the American empire, including my country, the United Kingdom, which is part of the American empire. And it's deeply, deeply depressing to me. But I fight off the depression, like you do. I know you feel the same, and we all do, and the fight goes on.
Okay, this was a lot for his social type. So, what can I do now for my brothers and sisters in Palestine? So he's talking about other people as brothers and sisters. That is pointing me to family and friends above ego. And then what we see is he's demonizing empire and supremacy. Evil empire, supremacy is evil, and so on. These are ego-related things. So, and he's demonizing them quite badly. That's why I think he has ego lost. And then coming back to where we started, all in all, you're just another brick in the wall. I think this one says it all about his social type. Then I also wanted to make sure that this was masculine TA. I wanted to see the feminine feelings, feminine FI. And then he was talking about how depressed he is in the morning, but he is fighting it off. And then we are also seeing that he's receptive about other people's feelings. That is pointing me to feminine FI. My subjective typing result for Roger Waters is an ISFP. I think he's a visual FI as he consumes, sleep, play, ++, number 4. This is what I came up with for him. I will be typing Susan Sarandon next if you are interested. See you there. And this is a personal thank you from me to Roger Waters.
Çocuklar için bir avuç lütfen.
Hello, my friend. I'm looking for people like me. If you enjoy the content I put out there, please do like and subscribe and be in this community. I am trying to build a community for people like me, for people who need this place where they can be exactly as they are and kind of an incubator for self-actualization. That's what I'm trying to achieve. I have recently started a project called Little Tail. I'm hoping to see you there. I'm hoping to have our group sessions where we explore objective personality coins in a playful way. This is how we're going to be using our play to get to our sleep. And we will have the sense of community, a community where we are welcomed. We don't have to deal with all the negative stereotyping and so on. So if you're interested in a community, a supportive, collaborative community like that, please consider joining me in social media wherever you're watching this. Please come as you are, you're always going to be welcomed here. I also wanted to mention that I started typing people, so if you like my subjective opinion or your type, you can reach out to me on social media. And also I have this program. If you have a small group of people where you would like to explore team building activities, I would definitely suggest trying out my new program, Story Circle Sessions. So that might be really something that everybody would enjoy and grow together and have amazingly good bonds together. Take care.